Mike Braun is getting ready to take office in the new year with a running mate that he didn't choose. Micah Beckwith was chosen by convention delegates this past summer, and recently Braun's transition team unveiled new responsibilities for the LG's office and other cabinet members who will now oversee some aspects of the lieutenant governor's job instead, including housing and tourism. Our State House reporter Hannah Adamson asked Beckwith about that last week in a one-on-one interview.
Governor Braun has streamlined a lot of processes. So I think when it comes to housing and tourism, those will not necessarily be under my purview as much as they were under Suzanne Crouch's, which is completely fine because I looked at kind of how it was all laid out beforehand, and it doesn't make much sense from a business perspective, a business owner's perspective, if you're talking about streamlined efficiencies. And so I like that he is moving them under places like commerce or under different purviews. They'll have more of the governor's ear that way.
Some would make the argument that is Braun taking away responsibilities. What would your response to that be?
No, I don't think so. I think Mike Braun is an efficient entrepreneur. I think, and I saw the same thing he saw. I think when he started looking at how the government really works and started getting into the nitty gritty, there are things that stood out to me where I'm like, why are we doing it this way? It doesn't make sense. It's not efficient. It's not effective. This is not about Micah Beckwith. This is not about me. It's not about what I want. It's about what will best work for the people of Indiana. And honestly, the things that he's doing right now that I see in the transition team are great. I'm 100% on board. I think it's going to be very effective. I think it's going to streamline processes. I think it's going to strip the fat from the institutions. I think we're going to combat a lot of government waste. So again, I don't see it that way at all. And even if I did, I wouldn't care because if it's good for the people, that's what I want. And so I'm happy with where it's going. And I think it's going to be very successful for, and Lord willing, 8 years.
I want to take a turn into something that I feel we haven't really heard much about from your perspective, and that's medicinal marijuana legalization and the question as to whether or not that's going to be within the realm of possibility. What is your stance on specifically marijuana for medical use, adult use?
Yeah, medical use, I don't have an issue with that. I think you have to be very careful, though, because I grew up in Michigan. Michigan legalized recreational marijuana a few years ago. It's destroying the state. Ask any state trooper. My brother-in-law is a state trooper in Michigan, and he'll tell you that marijuana is the gateway drug. It is leading to so much of the breakdown within the small communities in Michigan, and and he wishes that they would have never done that. They would have never legalized recreational marijuana. So the guardrails that I would want to see if we legalize medical marijuana, it'd have to be very strict guardrails because, I think we all know that one step leads to the next step. I think medical marijuana is okay because I think it's a natural substance. I think God put it on this planet. I think there's some great research that marijuana will help with things like Parkinson's, and we have far more powerful drugs in pharmaceuticals than marijuana. So, but I don't want it to lead to the recreational use in a legal way in Indiana because it's destroyed Michigan, it's destroyed Colorado, it's destroying California, and it's not generating the revenue from a tax perspective like they all said it would, and it's really hurting families and especially children. And so it's a gateway. Ask anybody in Michigan, they will tell you if they've seen it in their community, it is a gateway, and it's led to a lot of terrible things and tragic things in those communities. We don't want that for Indiana. Let's protect Indiana.
How do you balance property tax reform while also making sure that local governments have enough to fund good schools, good emergency services, fire, police, things like that?
Well, I think the school issue is sort of a moot point because half of our budget, our statewide budget, $22 billion goes to schools out of a $44 billion budget. If we can't make schools successful with just that, then we're not doing something right. You don't need property taxes on top of that because property taxes add another $7 to $8 billion of revenue for schools on top of the $22 billion. So out of our entire $44 billion budget, almost $30 billion of our taxes is what's going to schools. So we don't really like property taxes and school funding shouldn't even be considered right now because we pay so much of our entire annual budget to funding schools. If we can't get it done with just the budget, then we got a problem. It's not a money issue. It's how are we spending the money issue.
I want to talk about what's going on in Logansport. You'd mentioned that it's a quote invasion when it comes to these migrants that are utilizing TPS, for example, or granted TPS. Under your and the Braun administration, what is the end goal there for those specifically with TPS who are not citizens legally, but are here legally under TPS?
If you're here legally under any status, then you're here legally, right? But we need to know who you are. We need to make sure that when that status runs out, that what's happening. And I saw some experts put out a study, 90% of those with TPS do not show up for their court dates. So my question is, what happens after they don't show up? Does somebody go get them? Does somebody find out where they are? Do they just stay in the community? What happens? And nobody knows. ICE isn't doing their job because of the Biden administration. They've opened up the borders, which is why Kamala got her butt kicked 2 weeks ago. It's because of an open border invasion. And that's what it is. It's an invasion. We are a welcoming nation, but you start invading our communities and coming here illegally or abusing systems that are meant for good, like TPS, that do want to help people who need asylum quickly. If you want to use that as and abuse that in a way, we need to find out, and we need to put a stop to that. And that's what I'm calling on the Braun Beckwith administration to do. That's what I'm calling on Indiana to do, is get to the bottom of who's here, how are they here, and if they're not here legally, or if their status has run out, then what do we do, and what's the next step? And nobody can give me an answer. I say, hey, what's happening? Like, what happens when they don't show up for their court case? Local law enforcement, they don't know. ICE isn't getting back to us. It's always one of these things, like, well, it's that person's problem or it's that person's problem. And ultimately, who suffers are the people of Logansport, people in small communities.
Okay, Micah Beckwith there with our Hannah Adamson. Coming up next, we'll talk with our panel about the new administration at the State House, plus their reaction to the decision to drop the federal charges on President-elect Trump. Next.